You know, the title of this panel is Building a Stronger and More Cohesive Europe, which means that strength is not built and cohesion does not exist. Otherwise, we wouldn't raise this question. Anyway, how can we build a stronger, more cohesive, and more strategically mature Europe in a rapidly changing geopolitical environment? Changing every day. We all understand and recognize that the landscape around us, east, south, and across the Mediterranean, is undergoing profound transformation. The certainties of the past, as we were used to experience it, are no longer guaranteed. Europe must therefore adapt with clarity, realism, and most importantly, and unity. The conflict in Ukraine, again, referred to that before, has reminded us of the fragility of peace on our continent. You know, we all around this table are the privileged, represent the privileged generation that we have never lived a war. And we take it for granted. Nobody would have imagined some years ago that we would be confronted with all these challenges. As you know, coming back to Ukraine, the latest discussions in Moscow on the revised United States peace proposal, which again ended without agreement and revealed deep divergences on territorial issues and security guarantees, show how difficult the path to a just settlement remains. Europe must therefore remain firmly committed to stability, to diplomacy, and to a rules-based international order. This is why any sustainable solution must ensure long-term security for Ukraine, while at the same time creating the conditions for a future regional equilibrium. Europe's role is not only to support, but also to contribute to shaping a stable security architecture for the whole continent when the time comes. Our focus today is the southeast of Europe, a region of vital strategic importance. It is not Europe's periphery in some belief, it is Europe's gateway. From the Black Sea to the Eastern Mediterranean and the Balkans, this region concentrates the challenges and opportunities that we will define Europe in the years ahead. Energy security and diversification, maritime stability, connectivity and infrastructure corridors, migration pressures. I have lived it, I have experienced it firsthand, because as you know, 5 months after my arrival, after I was designated European Commissioner for Migration and Security, we had the very first uncontrolled migratory flows and the very first terrorist attacks. So I was the lucky one to be asked to set up from scratch the European agenda on migration and security. Believe me, it was not an easy thing. To convince 28 at that time member states to talk to each other, and as it was said before, to trust each other, it was the most difficult task of my life. It worked. We gave some results. But is the problem resolved? Not yet. And it will remain here for many years ahead. And I believe that neither Europe nor the whole world, the global community, international community, is ready to address it. Anyway, we have to go with that. I have often stressed that Europe's resilience begins at its external borders. And no part of our union illustrates this more clearly than the southeast. Our friends from Cyprus, from Italy, from Turkey, feel it every day. The frontline states here carry, believe me, responsibilities that ultimately safeguard the entire European project. But this also highlights what we must strengthen. First, Europe needs a broader strategic vision. Does not exist. A union that understands its neighborhood, anticipates developments, and can act collectively, not by replacing existing security frameworks, but by complementing them, bringing European cohesion, planning, and responsibility to the forefront. Second, Europe must invest in connectivity. Energy routes from the Caspian, the Eastern Mediterranean, and North Africa, digital corridors linking continents, logistics networks, and that anchor Europe in global trade. Now, the Southeast is at the heart of all these emerging infrastructures, because what happens here will determine Europe's energy autonomy and competitiveness. Third, Europe must maintain cohesion and solidarity. Solidarity was put at stake during the three successive crises. Frontline states, whether facing migration flows, energy pressures, or maritime risk, cannot be left alone, but is their real, let's say, need of solidarity to the southern parts of Europe? No. From my own experience, I can tell you that the northern European countries, they do not see, understand, and feel the same all these challenges of the south. Now, cohesion. Cohesion is not a matter of fairness. It is a matter of strategic necessity. A Europe that shares burdens in a Europe that can shape its future. Burden sharing, big problem. Are they all ready to share it? No. Above all, we need political leadership. Leadership that sees beyond the current crisis, that builds bridges rather than walls, and that understands that Europe's strength comes from unity, predictability, and constructive engagement with all partners in its wider neighborhood, including those with whom relations may sometimes be complex. Today's discussion is very important, but it's also an opportunity to look beyond the immediate challenges and focus on the Europe we want to build. A Europe confident in its values. I don't think it exists today. You see, the rise of all these populist and anti-European forces put the European project at stake. And believe me, if we continue like this, we shall revert to the dark pages of our recent history. Well, the cohesive Europe is a safer Europe. A connected Europe is a more competitive Europe. And the strategically mature Europe is a more influential Europe around the world. Believe me, the voice of Europe is not heard anymore. All these crises around Europe, because Europe is at the epicenter of an arc of instability that starts from Tunisia and goes up to Ukraine. And Europe's voice is not heard. Final remark. If Europe does not decide, and this is the responsibility both of the European and the national leaderships, to complete the European project by adopting a common defense and foreign policy, the European ideal and the European project will be at stake. This is a huge responsibility of the today's leadership at the European, as I said before, and at the national level. Let's hope that reason will prevail, that we shall go back to the dream and the vision of our forefathers. Otherwise, we shall revert to the past. And this is very, very dangerous for us, and especially for the younger generations.